Oh yeah, I talked to Shadow Davis, and I was telling him that I went to the bank because I had a bank appointment, and all over the bank at every single teller station was the pride flag mixed in with the pink and brown, which I don't even want to believe is minor attracted person, because I can't even believe that we would have such a ridiculous thing. But at the bank, like I was saying, there's all these map flags everywhere, or whatever the heck this pride flag is with the new little bit in it, the pink and blue bit. And I just think, why do I have to celebrate this? Why does this have to be a thing? And it got me thinking, okay, it is now, the acronym is now LGBTQIA2S plus. What the actual hell? So this acronym, it stands for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and trans, queer and questioning, intersex, asexual, or agender, and two-spirit. And the plus sign signifies additional identity terms. We are getting ridiculous, right? Like I told Shadow the other day, I stop at the L and the G. Lesbian and gay. If you're lesbian and gay, we support you. We love you. Like, have all the rights you want, get married, have a job. There should be no discrimination. In my entire life, I grew up born in the 70s. I grew up in the 80s, a young woman in the 90s. I faced racism when I was young, but I never saw anybody face gay discrimination. I mean, maybe they did, or maybe they were shy to say that they were gay. I know that could be a thing. But I knew my gay friends in junior high school and in high school. They were living their lives. They were just gay and they knew it. We didn't do any of this surgery, top surgery, bottom surgery, hormone replacements, hormone suppression. We didn't give anybody medication or drugs. We didn't make it so that you could go have a surgery or something and not tell your parents, because the government says that that's okay to not tell your parents. We didn't do any of those things. So I think that this should just stop at the L and the G. Why do I care if you're bisexual? Why do I have to celebrate you? Why do you get a whole month? And I know I sound like a grouchy old woman, but it's like, why do we do this? Why do we sexualize these things so much? Why do I care if you're queer? Why do I care if you're questioning or if you're two spirit? Why do I literally have to give a shit if you're questioning your sexuality? I don't care. And I don't care what you do in your bedroom with who you love or who you don't love or whatever. I don't care. Do I want equal rights for lesbian and gay people? Yes. And that's it. And that's where it ends. Do I want equal rights for everybody? Yes. All Canadians? Yes. But preference to Canadians, right? Like that's it. I'm tired of this stuff that they used to teach my kid in grade 6. They'd say AFAB and AMAB. They'd write it on the whiteboard. AFAB, which means assigned female at birth, and AMAB, which is assigned male at birth. And they would tell the kids this. Stay out of that. Stay out of, don't do that. And certainly don't tell little children coming up about this bisexual questioning, intersex, all this stuff. And certainly going to these gay parades that are so highly sexualized, where the men are like wearing assless chaps and they're doing very sexual motions. I don't see how that's a family event. You want to have that parade, have it. You can be an adults only parade, but don't teach the kids this, because now you have this generation, which I think it's turning now. You got this generation of kids that are confused, and everybody is a they, and we have to accept everybody's pronouns and all that kind of thing. We're getting ridiculous. And I'm so glad, whether you like Trump or not, that he actually said there's two genders. That's all there is. That's all we're recognizing, to hell with the rest of this stuff. Anyway, that's my little rant about that. So we'll see what happens during Pride Month, see how ridiculous it gets. It's kind of off my radar a bit now because my kid is in high school and he says that they're not really pushing this stuff. Although sometimes he doesn't know who in his class is a male or female. Like, isn't that pretty basic? Isn't that something you should just know? But yeah, he doesn't know. Another thing I just wanted to say about like my high school and stuff like that. When I was growing up, I don't know if you could relate to this. When I was growing up, we had Boy George. we had Adam Ant, we had Duran Duran, like Nick Rhodes from Duran Duran, we had David Bowie, Annie Lennox, like all these people were totally androgynous. And we never thought anything of it. We never thought to ourselves take hormones. We just never made a big deal about it. Like if you were slightly effeminate and androgynous, whoopee ding. I don't even remember it being a thing. I remember looking at Boy George going, okay, this is weird. You're obviously, I guess maybe we thought he was a transvestite at the time, a man who likes to dress up as a woman, although that term has gone away. But nobody was gender confused. And that would have been one of the most confusing gender times, right? Like to have Adam Ant and everybody was Prince. Even Prince was so fruity, like so feminine and stuff like that. So we had men that were slightly feminine. We had women that were maybe slightly masculine, like Chrissy Hind and Annie Lennox. And it was you just took them as they were, right? You just took it as it were. And then we had manly men. We had like Sting, David Lee Roth, stuff like that. And Bono. This brings me to Bono. I'm going to talk a little bit about Bono on the Joe Rogan show. Now, Bono, obviously, his worldview is his worldview, right? He obviously is, and my worldview is my worldview, and that shapes your opinion and how you think about things. But he was very highly unimpressed with the cutting of USAID. And so a lot of podcasters went on to say that Joe Rogan destroyed him. Joe Rogan schooled him. I'm not sure that that's what happened. I don't think Joe Rogan did any of that. I don't think he did any of that.
It's not proven, but the surveillance enough suggests 300,000 people have already died from just this cut off, this hard cut of USAID. So there's food rotting in boats, in warehouses. There is this will fuck you off. You will not be happy. No American will. But there is, I think it's 50,000 tons of food that are stored in Djibouti, South Africa, Dubai, and wait for it, Houston, Texas. And that is rotting rather than going to Gaza, rather than going to Sudan, because the people who know the codes or for the warehouse are fired. They're gone. And so this, I don't know, what do you think? What is that? That's not America, is it?
Well, they're throwing the baby out with the bathwater. Right. This is the problem. The problem is, for sure, there have been a lot of organizations that do tremendous good all throughout the world. Also, for sure, it was a money laundering operation. For sure, there was no oversight. For sure, billions of dollars are missing. In fact, trillions that are unaccounted for, that were sent off into various, they don't even know where because there's no receipts. The way Elon Musk described it, he said if any of this was done by a public company, the company would be delisted and the executives would be in prison. But in the United States, this is standard. When Biden left office, when it was clear that Trump won, in the 73 days, they spent $93 billion from the Department of Energy on just radical loans, just throwing money into places.
Right.
And there's no oversight, no receipts. Like the whole thing is, there's a lot of fraud, a lot of money laundering.
Yeah. What do you think about that? I don't think Joe roasted him. I'm not even sure that maybe Joe even got that totally right either. Bono is literally saying that food is rotting and that amount of people are dying because somebody in America that got laid off and doesn't have the codes. No, that's not what it is. It's not that you need a code, right? This is like I think that perhaps the USAID helps corporations and the government be corrupt. They go into these countries. I mean, the answer to saving a country isn't to throw food on the doorstep. Although they need food, they need aid. But the answer is about the sovereignty of the country. The thing is, what's happening to Gaza? That's really the real question. USAID, I mean, is sort of like it's an avenue for maybe infiltration in a way. And I think, you know, the Trump administration is like, we got to cut the things that you need to cut. That doesn't really mean cutting food, but you know, I don't really hear Bono denouncing the slaughter or the genocide of people. I hear him just criticizing cutting the funding to USAID. It's like, well, what was USAID doing? You know, what exactly, you know, like you kind of think about these things. I think now that we all sort of know a little bit more now, it's like you think the Red Cross, you think of like whenever there's a big thing to raise money for something, are the people that need it getting the money? And you know, throwing food on the doorstep, what, yes, people need it, but also shouldn't the money be going to sort of help industry, capitalism, farming in those countries? Because if you keep these countries impoverished, if they cannot farm their own food, if they cannot uh, thrive, then what you have is migration. People leave the damn country and they want to come to good old Canada or whatever, good old USA, because USA is going to save you. You know, make your own country thrive. And so, you know, in my lifetime, you know, all I see is like celebrity concerts and fundraisers and things raising money for people, just like with the fires, the Pacific Palisade fires. There was a big concert to raise money. Did anybody get the money? I don't think they did. I think a lot of the money went to administration, went to this, went to lining the pockets of this, that, and other, and to other companies. And did the people actually get the money? Because human beings are charitable. Human beings want to help. And we will empty our pockets. We will give you food. We will help our neighbor. But if the people collecting the money don't give the money to the people that need it, that's a big problem. And if you have agencies that are working like the USAID, funding things, sort of funding, you know, if it's funding sort of, you know, destabilizing a nation, I'm not so sure that that's a good thing either. So I don't know. So Joe Rogan, he didn't actually like school him, because I think that's not Joe Rogan's approach. I think he's not there to argue. He's just there to have a conversation. You know, he just kind of eases into things, because I think if you argue with someone, you'll lose them. And I don't think you wanted to lose them. But I mean, at least he kind of made Bono see a different side. I don't know, but that just shows like we do not get down with these celebrities nowadays. We look at people like Bono and we're like, we're not sure you get it. We look at people like Bruce Springsteen and we're like, what are you talking about now, right? What does this comment say here? Bono's own country is rotting from the immigration invasion, destruction of the Irish culture. You know, yes, yeah, Bono, the ultimate grifter. I think he just doesn't get it. Like he just doesn't get it, you know? Like a lot of these celebrities, it's just not in their worldview. Even bloody John Cleese doesn't get anything. He posts the most ridiculous things on Twitter. He's so Trump deranged. All the celebrities are completely Trump deranged. And it's like nobody. I liked U2 as a band, you know. They weren't my favorite band, but I thought they wrote good songs and he's a good singer, and maybe he should just stick to singing.